TEDxQuestU, TEDxQuestU, we're the gyauustees of the Squamish, Channel, Wakiwak tribal people. I am wanted to open up today, stand with my family and relatives. I have other family and relatives here that have come to listen to your wonderful words. And I wanted to start this off with a song, an eagle song. Around with this stupid technology and stuff, microphones, things like that. Seems like it's a little bit out of place up here, but I'll use it to communicate clearly. I wanted to introduce myself too, with regards to my relationship to the land here. I have my grandparents and great-grandparents buried here, and we've been here for thousands of years. And I didn't always know that. Didn't always know that we've been here so long. Didn't always know who my dad was. Didn't always know who my grandparents were. I never even heard their names until I was a young man. So I want to take your attention back to 100 years ago, here on the Pacific Northwest. There was contact had been made with we call them on the West Coast, the Mummelsy. And they came on what we thought were clouds, white clouds, and they came to our shores, and contact was made. And we had thought that they were very sick, so we offered our food and our medicines, and began to build a relationship with those who came on these ships. Traded some of our best things for them to be good and hospitable. And then as time went on, just as specifically just with my family, what happened to us. My grandfather, great-great-grandfather, was walking along the beach and he found a woman on the beach dead. There was one of these ladies who'd come off the ships. And he had brought her to her things, her jewelry and her things to the, at that time there was a man there from the church. And he brought it to the police. And they turned around and they said that you must have killed her. And they hung him to death. And as he was with the rope around his neck, he was smiling at his grandchildren, just looking right at him, going up around his neck. And he was smiling at him. It's okay, grandson, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going home now. I'll be here with you. And he left a song as he was being hung that our family still uses in our potlatch ceremonies. Now, all of this that I just shared with you, I had no idea when I was growing up. I was born into a world of alcoholism and addiction. I say all the time, I was born into a whiskey bottle. Literally. All of these people that are here in this room, they would be adults to me as a little child, and every single one of you would be drunk every day. I didn't see sober people. It just wasn't part of my existence. I didn't even know that the whole world didn't drink until I was almost 20 years old. There's a little house down the road here, and my friend lived there. And I went to his house one day, and his mom was like, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. You know, are you hungry? You want something to eat?" I was just like, "What? This is like weird, man." So your mom, what was that, race? And his dad was like, "Oh, you guys have any homework? You want some help?" And I was just like overwhelmed. Mom came in with food and gave it to us, and then I just started to cry. I was like welling up. I was like, "Oh no, I gotta go. I didn't even know what that feeling was that I had, but I was terrified of it. And what I realized later was that it was the unconditional love that the parents have for their children. I had no idea about that. So after that point, I realized that there was something wrong with me. There was something off. How come I have to have a happy hour every day? Why? Why did I have to do that? Why was my life that way? And then I started looking around and I started seeing other people. And they weren't doing that. Like, how come they have a nice house up there on the hill? Why do they have 2 cars? And why do they have like jobs? Like, how come all that's happening? I don't get it. I don't know why. So I started off on my journey and I went into counseling to give you some kind of perspective of what it takes, you know, to come out of what's happened to us. I went every day for 2 years. I was calling him on Saturday and Sunday. Never ever really said anything to me, my counselor. Turned out he was my cousin, just like almost all the other Native people around here. And so I kept telling him, and I kept talking, and I kept getting it out there, and I kept saying, you know, what was happening for me. on a very intimate, personal level. And he never really said anything. But he had ears, and he had patience. Plus, he was getting a paycheck for it. Pretty sure that helped him be there too. But I'm really grateful for that I had found, what I found out later was love. I still didn't know who my dad was. So I went off on a journey to find him. And I wound up in a provincial jail, which is the fastest growing reserve in America. The statistics in the United States that was referred to earlier is very, very, very high for Native Americans as well, but they don't even count them down there. I also wanted to bring mention too that I was asking everybody where my dad was, and I was looking in the bars. I was asking all the weed dealers, where are you? Oh, yeah, man, I know him, I know JC, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. Yeah, I know your dad, I hear that almost every day. Everybody knew him over in the New Channel in Port Alberni, Vancouver Island, and Nanaimo, Victoria. Everybody knew him, but they haven't seen him in a long time. Eventually, I ran into this lady who was working with the native people, Sandy. And I said, hey, you know JC Lucas? He says, yeah, I do. He was just at our house the other day. And I was like, what? JC was at your house the other day? Yeah, he was doing a pipe ceremony. I was like, what? Pipe ceremony? What's that, like hash pipe? I had no clue whatsoever to any sort of ceremonial anything, even praying, except for my mom. She was very avid Jehovah's Witness, still is today. And so she told me that she did a blessing on the home, did a blessing on the house. And I said, well, I have no idea what that means. And she said, why? Why are you asking about this guy? I said, because he's my dad. She was like, what? Your dad? What's up? Does he know? Does he know where you are? What was your name again? And so I shared this story to show the displacement of our people. Not everybody grew up in the same house, not everybody grew up in the same home. And then so I had to really take the opportunity to apply myself to be maintaining sobriety, finding out what that was all about, taking the opportunity to step forward in unity, peace, and dignity. This Eagle staff came into my life not too long after that. Steps that I took into the Sweat Lodge, walk that I took on behalf of my own health and well-being, and I grew into the NDP Purification Lodge ceremonies. I found my way to the Native American Church and the peyote ceremonies. I found my way to Sundance, and the whole time that I was finding my way to those places, I was learning the traditional songs from the Pacific Northwest and my potlatching systems. I learned out who I was on the West Coast. I found out how it was that I could be supportive to my family and people, and at the same time it was reciprocal. I found out too that everything wasn't take. That we weren't in a consuming society for here for thousands of years. That everything that in our life was give and take, give and receive, everything. If we received something, we would all automatically try to give something back that was good. And everything was in exchange for that. Everything in our society was made on service. Service to one another. Everybody in this room has different skill sets. Some of them are similar and complement each other. And some of them just are on the other side of the world. They don't have anything to do with each other. But it makes life healthier and happier. if we just put into the pot instead of trying to make our own pot over in the back, and unifying in the presence of service to one another, we will be able to redeem ourselves from this chaotic, consumed world. We have garbage everywhere. It's smothering the life force of Mother Earth. Through the prayers that I've been doing and the ceremonies that we've been having throughout North, Central, and South America, through the Unity, Peace, and Dignity journeys, the continental run from Alaska to Central America, and from Argentina to Central America, with the Condor staffs coming from the south and the Eagle staffs coming from the north. Every 4 years, there's prayers that happen for each and every single one of you. They said that when the Condor, feather that's up here, and the Eagle come together, that the rest of the world will be ready to hear from the Indigenous people. This is happening now. Our time is now. They said that we would find a place that we would be peaceful within our hearts and our minds, that we would find that place within us, and we would all begin that journey together, that we would all try to find that place of peace and things that make us happy within our heart. We have joined up with our relatives in South America, we have joined up with the relatives in Central America and all the other continents with the tribal people. We are in ongoing communication, and we have really strong relations because it's been prayed about for 7 generations. It's encoded into our DNA. We have the codes within us, within our language, to be able to talk to absolutely everything, and we know what to communicate. We know what to do. We have the technologies now. In uniting with the Condor and the Eagle, we now have the technologies to be able to turn garbage into renewable energy. We have the ability to harness the winds to be able to take the power back. We have the ability to be able to make clean, sustainable fuels, pure, clean water. We have this ability now. We have these patents, we have these things. And now today we want to work forward, talk with each other, and implement things that will create profound change for every continent on the earth. I have some relatives with us here today. I have some relatives in the audience today. I'm really happy to see them here. I'm really happy to be part of this Quest community here today too. Have an office here and have an ability to be able to grow into and expanding into the possibilities for taking care of Mother Earth. Thank you all for your speakers that have come here today. I really appreciate it. I know what it's like to be in the hole because I use my Indian name. I know what it's like to be locked up for 3 months with no contact with any people. I know what it's like to be able to have an acceptance within my heart to forgive. I have that. I forgive myself for the thing that I've done. I forgive everybody that did harm to me. I forgive the governments and everybody for walking all over me. And in that, I found a new peace within my heart. And I believe everybody has that ability, because if I can make it, we can make it. If I can make it, anybody can make it. Because all odds were stacked against me. And through this acceptance of unity, peace, and dignity within my heart, I find a place inside myself that I have peace, a calmness, a quietness. And through that, through the ceremonies, the purification ceremonies, the sacred medicines that Mother Earth has provided us, the divine root system that it's all connected with, brings me to a place to be able to have the opportunity to be able to sit here and talk to you about peace. I feel like I was hit with a hammer 1,000,000 times over here in my life, until I started to redeem myself and have that acceptance of what happened, and forgiveness for what happened to me, my family, my relatives, to be able to have the opportunity, once I found that peace, to open my mind up to be able to look for the solutions, to take those solutions and all of the so-called problems as opportunities to be able to redeem dignity back into the communities, into our lives again. coming from a place of having nothing, to stand here with all of this is earned. Everything you're looking at here is earned. Nothing has been bought. This is all for my children's children's children, the future generations, health and happiness, to always have clean water, to always have clean air to breathe, to always have good food to eat, to be able to have the encouraging ways from all of our combined efforts of our tribal relations from North Central South America and the other continents around the world, to be able to look into life and see good things in everything that we do. To hear good words, even if it seems negative at the time, to really hear the goodness in it. To always say things that are good for other people to hear. To bring these fundamental teachings back to the core of who we are, in service to one another's health and happiness, in service to one another's life. This whole idea of everything, hoarding everything and getting the biggest house and all of that stuff has got us absolutely nowhere, but in huge trouble. So with the loving kindness of the prayers of the Unity Journeys, the continental run that you do every 4 years for each and every one of us, I lift up the staff for them, for the ones who have the heart to be able to pray for people who don't even pray, who don't know how to, who can't see the light. For all of the relatives who are still suffering from the effects of residential school, the effects of the attempted genocide of our people. It's like, attempted. Nice try. Thanks for making us stronger. Thanks for giving us the ability to speak these languages from around the world so we can tell everybody how to take care of it. I really believe that we have the opportunity to be able to be supportive to one another, no matter where we're at in life, no matter what we have on our plate. I'm really grateful to Quest University, really grateful to the organizers of this event, to all the speakers. I'm really grateful for the good hearts and the good minds of all life. This place here that we are on right now, this was where I used to quest to. I used to come up here when I was just a little kid. I wasn't allowed to be up here. But I used to sit back here where the beehives were, and I could see through the trees, and I could see the ocean down there, and I could think all my problems are gone. This is my little spot. And for me to be able to come work here, and to share the ancient wisdoms and knowledge that I have received, is a miracle. It's a miracle that I'm alive. It's a miracle that I have family in the audience, people that I grew up with, relatives that I love and care for here from North Central and South America. Unity, peace, and dignity, health and happiness, prosperity and abundance for all life.